Welcome to Beyond the Clef. I'm your host, David, and we have a very special episode here. I'm with Dr. Brad Kent, and he is the UIL State Director of Music. Thanks for coming on and being live in the Summer Music Convention. And we have a little bit more of a serious topic to talk about. Everybody's kind of wondering what's going on with the STAAR testing dates. What can you tell us at this point?
Well, thank you for having me, David. So that's a great question, and as you mentioned, it's a subject everybody's interested in right now because everybody's impacted by test dates. So essentially, we have a situation right now where the initial testing dates that were published earlier in 2017 were recently changed at the end of June by TEA. So we're in the process of trying to determine A, are those dates going to change again?
Right.
B, if they do change again, is there a chance that those dates could go back to where they originally were? Or are they going to change to a third option at this point? So where we are with this right now, we're in discussion with TEA. We hope to have an answer for everybody within the next few weeks, certainly by the startup of school, to give more information so everybody can plan their year. And we realize that it's a little unsettling because people have made plans, and we all plan our calendars pretty far in advance.
Oh, sure, absolutely. I already have mine submitted at my school, and then everybody kind of, because they know I'm the first one, so I'm sure that's how a lot of programs are. So they frame, a lot of the school calendar gets framed around because they know band is most of the school, and they want to make sure that their students are served well. Now, kind of to frame this, I know this is, what do we do at this point? Because I'm fixing to go in a couple weeks here to our region meetings and whatnot. What at this point what is your suggestion on what we should do? And what's the timeline for when we should make decisions?
When we found out about these date changes a few weeks ago, the first thing we did was advise our executive secretaries in all 33 regions in the state for UIL to just essentially wait. Because as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we don't want people to change anything and then have to change it a third time. So we've asked people to wait while we work with TEA to see if the dates are going to change again or if this is the final answer.
Right.
So,
and I know that everybody really appreciates the work that you're doing and the UIL office is doing, because you're the person that's going out and advocating for all of us. So I know from the whole music community, I wanted to say thank you, and we appreciate it. We trust you, and we trust you to make your decisions. We don't want to create a stir. We don't want to create any kind of a panic, because then that makes rash things happen, like you said, if somebody changes the date right now. Well, now, help me frame this too in the future. Why did this, because I need to start making decisions in the future in our region and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Why did they change the dates? Do you know this?
Well, we don't know the answer to that question at this point. As you would imagine, choosing dates is very difficult.
Sure.
And I will tell you that that's probably the single biggest challenge we have at UIL is choosing dates, because there's always more things get added to the calendar. There's more activities, there's more sports, there's more music events. And obviously we still only have 365 days in the year, and we still have spring breaks, and we have other holiday breaks, and there's certain days that are essentially non-negotiables that we have to avoid.
Right.
And with all the activities that are there, every activity has to be scheduled, and at the end of the day, as we say, there are going to be conflicts.
Right. There's always going to be that.
It's just a matter of which conflicts we're going to have, and trying to find the conflicts that have the least impact on students and teachers.
Well, how does this affect our friends in athletics or the friends in UIL academics or whatnot? Are they getting the same message from their people that says, hold on, we're working on it, we're making our decisions, or are they going, can we expect if we start making things happen, if they're going to panic and then lump on top of us?
Yes, they're in a holding pattern also.
Okay. So you're in association with those guys, same plan.
So the changes that happened, as you would imagine, when you look at the calendar, most of the changes that are impacting the music world are in April.
Yeah.
So the April changes now are also impacting athletics and academics, because on the state level in UIL, there are state championship events in athletics and academics in April. So backing up another step, at UIL, when we have state championship events, obviously we have those held in certain venues, and we have contracts with those venues.
Yeah.
So date
Lots of
changes
money.
for us are very difficult because we're tied to a contract that may be as long as 3 to 5 years. And so that's part of what we're working with TEA on right now to see if anything can be adjusted that affects the state events first. And then obviously if a state event is changed, then there's going to be a ripple effect, and that's going to be backed up to the regional level in athletics, in academics, and then there's going to be an impact on concert and sight reading dates. The good thing about concert and sight reading is, since there's no advancement to a next level, we're not set to a certain time frame like we are in marching band. So in marching band, we have to have our qualifying rounds by a certain date, because for a band to go from region to area and area to state, they have to finish that by a certain date. But concert and sight reading can be done essentially any time during the year. So that gives us a lot of flexibility, but nevertheless, as you know, it's very frustrating when dates are set and then they're changed.
Right,
so we get that.
Well, and I know that I speak for everybody too, that we trust that our concerns, our frustrations, and our anger is being expressed in the appropriate channels about TA making this decision in the way that they did. And I know that you're carrying the mantle for us, and we appreciate that we have one voice for music and I'm sure athletics as well and academics as well. We really appreciate everything you're doing. And I know that everybody around here, we're live at the Director's Choice booth right now, and I know they're panicking too, because, for instance, my contest is before spring break, but I have travel after spring break.
Yes.
And so how does that affect if my high school gets moved up to a different area? And so we're all kind of in a holding pattern. So I think that's the big message is everybody wait until we can hear a little bit more information from Dr. Kent. And we really appreciate you being on the program. We'd love to have you on to talk about something a little more musical next time.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I would love to.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, David. I appreciate it, and I'm happy to help in any way that I ever can. I appreciate the confidence as well. We're all in this together, and as we say at the UIL, we all have to live together, so we do our best to work with all of our stakeholder groups, and certainly with TEA. And you know, TEA, when they choose their dates, they have a lot of stakeholders that they have to consider. Obviously, it's the superintendents and the schools and calendars that have nothing to do with UIL.
Right.
But I think the earlier we can all plan our calendars, the better.
Sure.
But we also know that that's dictated by the state calendar first.
Right, sure.
And then everybody builds their calendar off testing dates and
Right.
maybe even UIL dates too. So.
Well, hopefully soon we'll be able to see a solution that's best for children. And when do we expect to hear something a little bit more from you about this?
Our plan at this point is we hope to have some information to our region executive secretaries from the state office in time for the region meetings. So I know we have a meeting next week to discuss this with TEA, and we're just not sure where it's going to go at this point. But whatever happens, our goal is to at least have a final answer so we can tell all the teachers,
Right.
here's what it is. Now if you have to change, but it's not going to change again.
Right,
So that's
right.
our goal at this point.
Yeah, that would be the worst thing is that if
Yes.
somebody's changed something and planned around this, and it might change back, it might move, it might adjust, and they have to do it again and change for a third time. We don't want that to happen.
Well, yeah, and you're right about the trips, because so many groups take trips in the spring, so that's impacted as well. And
Yeah.
that's one
And
of
the
those
curriculum.
unintended consequences.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again for coming
Absolutely.
on, Dr. Kent. We really appreciate it, and thanks for being a part of Beyond the Clef.
You bet. Great. Thank you for having me.